All right. Good morning, everybody. This is meteorologist Brad Winter with Region Weather Live with a live look-in as to what is currently going on out there with this big low-pressure system, this big storm that's been looking to affect us for days and days and days, and it's finally here. It is time to take a look at what is going on out there currently. Now you can see the snow and the rain has now made its way into North Dakota, with the rain kind of sitting down here across portions of eastern South Dakota as well. Now it looks like a good bit of it right now is sort of on the light to moderate side. I'm kind of be poking around here and looking at things along with you, so might be sort of choppy a little bit this morning just because I am basically just taking a look at some of this stuff and trying to figure out really what is going on and what is happening sort of right along with everybody. So put this Bismarck radar into motion. And I guess the one thing I note is there is some mostly light out there, but there is some moderate areas that are moving to the north. Looks like as we kind of zoom in down here, probably just north of Hettinger, north of Lemon, in between Hettinger and Mott, sort of in between everything right now. Could be some area of moderate snow heading to the north. Looks like Bismarck just got done with some pretty good stuff as that's moving northward and actually kind of decreasing as well as it moves through Bismarck and through Washburn areas and stuff like that. So here we are. The snow is there. We're looking at it. I mean, it's looks like it's definitely impacting the areas that we thought we would, down in south central parts of North Dakota, southwestern Minnesota. Well, let's take a look at what we've got for road conditions. This is sort of in that New Salem area, and well, that's looking that map or this particular webcam's looking pretty interesting. That on-ramp or off-ramp, I don't know, looks like maybe an off-ramp. Looking pretty snowy. That camera not looking real great. Some boy out there kind of in that New Salem-ish area, that's not looking good. You can see on this map there is some yellow right around the Bismarck area, and I believe that's patchy ice. And this is an interesting picture if you could see that real well. That interstate doesn't look real nice. It doesn't look like visibility is real great either. Now just keep in mind with this, a lot of times with these cameras up so high, seems like you can see a little bit better than you can on the ground. So even though it looks like we could see some lights off in the distance, usually when you're on the ground and you're driving, it seems like, boy, the road conditions are just a lot worse than what you see up on the camera. So that's right around the New Salem area. This is closer to Mandan. And we'll just take a look there. More about the same. Actually looks maybe a little better. I don't know, might be a little deceiving. And here we're getting into Mandan more so. And there you can see it's snowing on that particular webcam there. Roads looking pretty slippery for sure. Definitely going to be, this is the wet, sticky stuff. So anything that comes in contact, especially with maybe a warmer road surface like we've had the last few days, it's going to stick. And it looks like some drifting occurring as well. So you're getting into parts of a city here, and even when the roads don't look that great and it's starting to drift even in the city, obviously out in the country it's going to be a lot worse. There you can see there too the road conditions across Bismarck right now. Boy, that looks pretty slippery. So those of you down in the Bismarck area, down in the south central parts of the state, that's interesting. I don't know if that's just a bad camera, but man, that would That would look like a fair amount of snow there. That didn't look good. This is 94 in State Street that we're looking at, this particular camera. So not, well, that's an interesting view, straight down. So in town, I mean, obviously, as is pretty typical, doesn't look quite as bad. But I think once we get more out of town, things tend to look a little worse, obviously, just because you don't have the shelter. You don't have all the buildings obstructing the wind and such. And this looks like a rest stop just east of Bismarck. And yeah, that's looking a little nasty out there, for sure. I'll give you back the radar here. Give you this one. I'm just going to kind of continue poking around here, and you can keep your eye on the radar here. I'm going to continue poking around and see if I can't find any other good cameras. Ooh, that one? What current is that? That's an interesting one. This is near Sterling. And that, boy, that doesn't look great at all out in Sterling. Might just be the camera, but looks like some conditions, some driving conditions a person really wouldn't want to be much a part of. At least I don't think I would be. This is Tappan road cam. Getting a little lighter out there. Doesn't look like the road at this present time is looking too terrible. Look out for Medina. Medina. There's always something going on in Medina. Either it's going to get worse or it's going to get better once you get to Medina. It's funny. I've said that for years, and I talked to my neighbor last night, and she said the exact same thing. She said Medina is just, there's something about that, something about the terrain there that changes, and looks rather boring for Medina right now. I would think Jamestown probably the same. I think we go back to the radar here. Yeah, looking like Jamestown's probably right on that rain-snow line right now. So nothing really accumulating out in the Jamestown area. So definitely looks like west, about as we expected. The James River Valley region would be sort of the cutoff line for that rain-snow mix. And that's basically what you're seeing now. Does look like some snow is trying to push further north into the Grand Forks region. Take a look on my window. I don't see anything just yet. So there's your official weather observation for Grand Forks. I don't see anything on my window. So apparently hasn't gotten here just quite yet. Take a look up to Dickinson. Out near Dickinson, doesn't really look like much until you get to this camera. Definitely snowing, but the road still looks okay. So apparently they've had maybe a little bit lighter snow. That one looks a little worse as far as the visibility goes anyway. Yeah, that one definitely looks worse there. So I would think the roads are probably going to start to deteriorate in Dickinson. They don't look quite as bad as what Mandan and Bismarck did, but visibility is definitely down. So things look like they're picking up in that Dickinson area right now. Taking a look at one of the latest models, and you can basically see, right through there is sort of our cutoff where it was showing up on radar. That's lining up pretty well with this particular model, with the snow just sort of reaching the Grand Forks region. As we continue to put this in motion, as expected, snow and some of that rain continues down to the southeast, but that snow continues to move to the north throughout the day. Here we are at about 11 a.m. and this is noon. So by noon, looks like the snow is just going to be reaching some of those far, far northern counties of North Dakota. It does kind of look, I'm really starting to wonder about counties in the far northwestern parts of North Dakota as to whether they're going to get as much snow as we previously thought. I mean, as I've been taking a look at the models, it seems like more so this heavier band's going to be right in through here and maybe leave a little bit more of that northwestern part of North Dakota alone, at least through the day today. It looks like the heavier band sort of wants to set up southwest to northeast throughout the day. Now, this is certainly what this particular model is showing. Here we are at 4 p.m. Rain snow line right along the Grand Forks and Trail County border, down through the James River Valley, down to Ashley area. I know areas in Logan and McIntosh have been added into the blizzard warning, as well as Grand Forks and, oh gosh, I got to learn my counties to work. But a lot of these counties in the far northeastern parts of North Dakota, Pembina County, got that one. Remember Pembina County, have been added to blizzard warning as well. Grand Forks actually is western Grand Forks, even though you're going to see it all lit up. And they're actually just including western parts of Grand Forks County while leaving east alone. They're still thinking that's mostly going to be right on that rain snow line. But here we are right now. This is 6 p.m. time frame that we're looking at for this particular model. And boy, still plenty of snow across the central. Now I'm picking up a little bit in the northwest, maybe decreasing a little bit in the southwest, but really most of it at this point looking like by 6 p.m. in that central to northeastern part of North Dakota. And once we get closer to midnight, kind of starts to fill back in some of these areas down in the southwest. So, just a prolonged period. Doesn't look like a whole lot has shifted. The only thing I would say possibly would be maybe not quite as much snow up here in the northwest, the way it's looking right now through the day today. Let's back this up a little bit and see how that southeast sort of progresses. Yeah, and there's still that question, that area of uncertainty still exists right in through here as to how much snow is going to fall, just because they're right on that rain snow line, and that's how it's going to continue through the day. So it doesn't look like a whole lot's changed. Maybe those in the northwest, not quite as much. Those of you in the southeast, right on that border as far as the rain snow line. And it's going to be real tough to figure out exactly how much snow is going to fall. Sometimes it begins to rain so hard that it cools things off enough and it changes over to snow for a while until the heavy stuff moves through. And then once the heavy stuff moves through, then it turns back to rain. And that's a possibility even, so that when the real strong stuff comes, it might actually change over to snow for a period of time. And that's the tricky part. That's the hard part about really trying to figure out where some of this stuff is going to be, where the snow is going to be, right, especially right on that line here as we watch this progress throughout the day. So keep that in mind if you're living, like I said before, right in through here. It's going to be hard to really figure out exactly how much snow you're going to get. Now, the other thing to note that we need to talk about is the potential for severe weather. You can see some thunderstorms pop up just east of Brookings, Watertown area. That's a little bit further north than what it was looking last night. But then more storms develop closer to that low, sort of right along that triple point, as we like to call it, where we have the warm front here, the cold front back and through here, and right in through here is always the sweet spot, and that looks like where the possibility of some severe storms will develop. So this is, let's see, this is 8 p.m. this evening. 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 8 p.m. this And you can see how the storms develop. And it looks like by 9 or 10 o'clock, at least according to this latest run, is when maybe some strong to severe storms works its way into the Minneapolis region. So still have a chance. Still have a chance for some severe storms today across the southern portions of Minnesota. This looks a little later than it did previously. Let's take a look at the actual reflectivity here. Take a look at a different. There we go. Gotta wait for the model to catch up. As always, I'm complaining about my computer. That's the problem. There we are at, this is 8 p.m. tonight, and you can see the storms that are fire up down across southern portions of Minnesota. It actually makes its way fairly close into central parts as well, but I don't think that's really got a great chance to be severe. I think most of it's going to be kind of from the cities, basically in this area is probably where we're looking at our best chance for severe weather tonight, later today and into tonight. This is 10 p.m., 11, and right now my model doesn't go beyond that, but so we're looking a little bit later than I was thinking last night. So this morning looks like maybe that timing might be a little slower. We'll see if that changes at all. I would definitely be prepared for areas in southwestern parts of Minnesota by late afternoon, and we're talking probably around 5 p.m., where I think some of these storms could very likely develop and then push east, maybe a little bit quicker than what this model currently is showing, but definitely something we will have to keep an eye on throughout the day. What's we got here? Yeah, man, that rain snow line is setting up real close to where we were thinking. Models have been doing a pretty good job at that. The only concern I maybe see with this as I just kind of watch the radar loop is maybe that Grand Forks area as to how much snow is going to occur there. I mean, it looks like it might have the possibility there through Grand Forks of picking up a bit more snow than previously thought. But boy, I don't think you'd have to go much further south of Grand Forks before you get into the rain. Fargo is definitely looking like they're just going to be in rain. So Castleton, Lisbon, Fergus Falls, you guys in Park Rapids, Brainerd, down through Watertown, Aberdeen, Redfield, Brookings, Huron, Pierre, all you guys are going to be in rain all day. So you're lucking out. You're getting the moisture without seeing any of the dreaded white stuff. So lucky you. Trying to show here. The Storms Prediction Center did bring this enhanced area a little bit further north. Let's pick a different color dummy so you can see it. A little bit further north into southern portions of Minnesota, southwestern parts in particular, and then also brought the slight risk a little bit further north to include a lot more area, a lot northern portions of the suburbs of Minneapolis. And they also obviously brought some of that marginal further north as well. Tornado risk, obviously they have pushed that a little bit further north to go along with that, to coincide with that. So areas down in the south central, southwestern parts of Minnesota have a pretty decent shot, 10%. That's pretty good, especially this time of year for seeing some tornadoes. Wind and probably hail is going to be more of a factor or more widespread anyway, but we cannot rule out the possibility of tornadoes down there later today, this evening, as it that low pressure system, that low basically is right, right where we need it to be. It's right in that sweet spot when we forecast for tornadoes. Like I was talking about, there's that triple point. Here we are at 7 p.m. and we've got our southeasterly winds here at the surface. And then as we go up further in the atmosphere, our winds are turning more southerly. And then as we go even further up, they go, southwesterly. And that's what happens. That's why this area becomes more of a sweet spot, because we're dealing with some of these southeasterly winds. We're right on that line for warm air, and it's just a perfect combination. And then not far behind it, we've got some northwesterly winds driving it as well. So you've kind of got that perfect combination of circulating motion going on right near that low pressure system. So this is, again, around 7 p.m. where that potential could lie. And then once we get closer to that 10, that low moves a little bit further north, so that danger does move with it closer to that 10 p.m. time frame this evening. And then once we get closer to Rochester by 10 or 11 p.m., I would think that's probably when you're going to have your best shot of severe weather. And looks like you guys are probably going to be sitting right on that line at that point as well. Going to maybe have to be watching the potential for some pretty strong to severe storms down in the south central parts of Minnesota, or southern parts of Minnesota, later today. That'll be fun. That'll be fun to watch. We'll see what happens there and see what progresses, and hopefully maybe later today we can follow that along. All right, I am going to just step away for a little bit. I'm going to let the radar sort of run here. Step away and take a look at a couple things. I'll be back in just a few minutes. We'll call it about 10 minutes. We'll be back, and we'll see what else is going on, see what else I can find out there. All right. Well, I'm just taking a look. Yeah. Morning frogging throat, apparently. Can't get it started this morning. All right. Taking a look at some of the current latest radar. Looks like we're getting a heavier band starting to develop down here in southern parts of North Dakota. So looks like we're getting, we'll call it not a heavy band, but a moderate band at least coming in through Zeeland and 48 Strasbourg, just north of Mott. So looks like for you guys out in Carson, Flasher, Linton, Wishick, Napoleon, up through Bismarck, New Salem, Glen Olin, looking like the potential that we're going to be seeing a burst of moderate snow coming. So visibilities will be reducing here. So if you're traveling across the south central parts of North Dakota right now, that looks like this is definitely on the increase. So watch out if you're traveling down there right now this morning. If you have morning commute wise, boy, I hope most everybody has gotten some things canceled. Haven't really heard much as to what's been going on school wise. I think I've heard Bismarck had some school cancellations, so maybe somebody can give me a little heads up on that if anybody's watching. But for those of you down in the south central parts of the state, some increasing snow, some moderate snow now starting to show up on the radar, and that is moving to the north. Yep, and I'm getting questions from people about the weather. That always happens. What's happening? What's going on? What's going on? And I say, watch my weather channel, and you'll find out, right? So, yeah, those of you down here, like I said, looking like it's kind of just. Let's pause this. Coming into that Strasbourg, Zeeland area, another area through Regent and Mott and Elgin. Kind of in between that Selfridge and Leith area, a band of moderate snow picking up and moving to the northeast. So we're looking like conditions will probably be on the decrease there. I would poke around at some of the webcams. Unfortunately, we don't really have any good webcams in those particular areas. All seem to be just to the north of that. Those of you down along around Wishick, this is 13 and 3, I believe. Road's not looking real great. It definitely looks slippery, I would say. Visibility actually doesn't look too bad at this point, but roads definitely does not look great at all. Doesn't look like a whole lot of traffic's been on there, and definitely snow covered and slippery. So that was around Wishick. This one is Flasher, about the same. Visibility doesn't look terrible, at least according to the camera, but boy, the road sure does look bad. New Leipzig. About the same right now. Haze, can't really see much because the camera's all kind of snow covered. But generally just looks like the roads are not good. Visibilities might be generally okay, but the roads are not good. Boy, can't really get much out of that camera. This is South Dakota near Ralph, South Dakota. White Butte. Yeah, this is White Butte. That doesn't look good. This is White Butte, South Dakota. So I think just south of Hettinger, I believe. Yeah, yep, just southeast of Hettinger, White Butte. And that camera is not looking real great. Not looking fun out there. Definitely some moderate snow going on near White Butte and probably going in through Hettinger as well. Flip back over to that radar right through here. Yeah, it looks like that radar. It looks like things are picking up out there as well. As you take a look at those last couple of frames, it looks like some of that snow is on the increase down through the southwestern parts of North Dakota, right around that Hettinger region. So not surprising that that particular webcam did not look good at all. Right there it is, near Lemon. Couple sniffles. Had a cold the last few days, so I've been still dealing with that. Here is Green River, basically just east of Dickinson. And roads don't look terrible, but definitely some drifting going on at this point. And once we got kind of closer to Medora, some of those roads actually didn't look bad at all. It looked like it hardly snowed out there. It does showing some snow on the camera, but doesn't look like anything's really accumulated. It looks like the roads are pretty good still at this point. So it looks like you got to get to Dickinson before you start to see some snow on the ground, some white stuff, and maybe more so east of Dickinson until the roads begin to deteriorate. So we flip back to the radar once again. And it's really hard to know, especially with snow, with wintertime conditions, just because the radar, we only have the really Bismarck radar, so it doesn't reach that far out. But I guess, for what it's worth, it does show that cutoff sort of being just right near Medora with the heavier stuff east of Dickinson. So that's basically corroborates with what the radar currently is showing. So that does seem to jive with what we're seeing between the radar and on the road cams. Going back to the full view here, and just taking a look at the long radar loop across the entire region. We still have that rain snow line a little bit further south still. As we, just north of Fargo, down north of Lisbon. Let's see, let it kind of wrap up here. Yeah, most of the rain still down in the southeastern parts of North Dakota, with the remaining being falling as snow. And boy, you do see again in the last couple of frames, there's definitely an increase, an uptick in some of this snow that's falling, and that's moving to the northeast. I was kind of saying earlier how this looks like it's developing. It's looking like this area in through here. Let's get the right radar that I'm looking at. Make sure we're both looking at the same radar here. Right in through here is probably where I'm looking at the best chance of the heavier snow. I'm not sure what happened, but it seemed to have frozen on me. Oh, great. That's great. This one froze up on me. Don't freeze up. Okay, well, we'll go back to this one. This one does like to flake out on me once in a while. Computers, gotta love computers. Anyway, I digress. I was saying earlier that it's looking a little bit possible that areas in the northwestern parts of North Dakota could receive a little bit less snow than previously thought. I think the way everything's sort of shaping up in through here, I think, area right through there, let's extend that a little bit further north, is probably where we're going to pick up a good bulk of the snow throughout the day today and into tonight. And the way this is shaping out, I think that's probably where you're going to see the heaviest snowfall. So Bismarck, you're looking more and more like you're in the bullseye areas further south and east of there, closer to that Linton, Napoleon area, Gackle, Hazelton. You're looking like you're probably going to be more on the heavier side of snow, on the heavier side of the white stuff out there. So I think northwestern parts of North Dakota look like they might be dodging it a little more than we had previously thought. Not that they're not going to get any, but I think maybe not quite as much as previously thought. Yeah, that's really picking up down here. Really increasing down in the south central. That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun, boy. If you're living down there, if anybody's down there and would happen to be listening, go ahead and take a picture, take a video, send it to me. I'd love to see a video of what's going on down in through south central parts of North Dakota, and go ahead and post them either my Facebook or Twitter. At Twitter is Region WX, and then Facebook is Region Weather Live. Be a good time to do this. Not sure where it's going to pop up though. Hey, let's get you something back here. There it is. Oh, still trying to figure all this stuff out as I fly, as I go, Sometimes you just got to roll with it, and you got to figure things out as we go. There's my Region Weather Live for Facebook, and as you'll see in a bit here, we've got Region WX for Twitter. So if you've got any pictures, any videos, that'd be great to see it out there. As always, go ahead and put something in the chat if you got some sort of questions. I'd be happy to answer them as long as I'm here. I'll be here actually probably till about 7:30. Then I'm going to take a little break, and then I'll be back a little bit after 8. So we've got a few more minutes, and then I'm just going to throw it over to the radar and then be back after the top of the hour. Yeah, Strasbourg, Linton, Zeeland, those areas increasing in intensity right now. North of Region and Mott, all heading towards the northeast. So areas in Linton and Hazelton and Wishick, you're probably going to be seeing an increase, an uptick in some of the snowfall here shortly. And that means reduced visibilities along with that as well. Here's some of the current conditions right now. Winds generally out of the northeast, and it looks like we got winds 20 to gusts of 30 miles per hour. Basically, what this is showing is a half-mile visibility in Bismarck and moderate snow. So it looks like Bismarck currently is picking up moderate snow, as well as Dickinson's also picking up moderate snow. They've got east-northeast winds gusting to about 45 miles per hour. So things are really picking up out there. Down here in, what is this, Buffalo? Wind gusts near 55 miles per hour already, so things really starting to crank up down in the Buffalo way, down in northwestern parts of South Dakota. Mobridge right now, of course, is rain, but they've got wind gusts near 44 miles per hour. So those winds are starting to increase. Note last night I said, as some of these stronger bands of snow develop, you're also going to have with it the stronger winds right along with it as well. So that looks like that's occurring right through here, where you see more of those reds in the wind barbs, and we're starting to see an uptick in some of that snowfall rate right through here, and they're both sort of coinciding with that. So here's where the blizzard conditions definitely could come in, folks. This morning, it looks like they're about to take off. Heading your heavy snow, less than a quarter mile visibility. Wind gusts near 44, 45 miles per hour. So definitely look like this is ramping up here down in the southwestern parts of the state, down through the south central. So if you're planning on traveling down there, I showed you some of the webcams, but those aren't always, they're hard to tell on some of these just because they do sit up higher. But it looks like the snow and the wind is definitely picking up through those areas, down in those areas where we were kind of concerned about. Flip this back over to just the full out mode here. We're just going to assume most of this is all falling as snow. We don't really need this thing here to tell us that the rain is further south and east. Most of this is really falling as snow at this time. So, all right, I'm going to keep this up here. I'm going to take a little break once again. I'll be back at about 8:10. And then we'll see what's going on at that point. So we'll see you then. All right, welcome back. And we're taking a look once again at that snowfall that's been increasing down in the south central, southwestern parts of North Dakota. And you can see, for those of you down around that Linton, Strasburg through Wishick, Ashley, snow has been increasing. Looks like we got some moderate, maybe even some heavy snow out there in between the Linton and Solon area, right coming up near Hazen with this yellow patch here. Another little area kind of in between the Linton and Strasburg area as well. So definitely picking up when it comes to the intensity of some of the snowfall. Looks like you've got kind of a band in through here, and then another one further down to the south and west, closer to that McLaughlin, McIntosh, Morristown, up through Mott. So you got a couple of different bands starting to form and move to the northeast as the morning goes along. Definitely looking, boy, that is sure interesting down here in McIntosh. Look how quick that develops. That's a heavy area of snow that's going to be forming there. Let's let that roll into motion here. Just let my computer sort of catch up. It's a little bit of a slower one there. There we go. Yeah, that McIntosh down through this area down in that McIntosh, McLaughlin, probably heading toward Fort Yates eventually, maybe even Strasburg if it makes it that far. So you're going to be picking up quite a bit of snow down here in the southwestern, south central parts of the state. Everything that we've kind of said has now, it's coming to fruition. As far as those of you down there, we've got, we're still expecting a fair amount of snow to move further north throughout the day. Here again is this latest model run that we have to go off of. This updates about every hour. Not to say that this is going to be 100% accurate, but this is it's one of those models that updates every hour. It's more of a convective model, but it sure helps us kind of throughout the day as well, just to see how some of this might be progressing. And you can see by 11 a.m. Noontime, some more of that snow starts to push further north in around that Hazen, Beulah, Dickinson, Medora area, at least according to this. Now, I think we're probably going to be seeing some stronger returns a little bit further north and east, mainly east of Bismarck. That's maybe not quite showing up on this particular model. So I would probably extend some of this further east through here, kind of in through that Steele area, in Dawson as well. Once we get into the more of the afternoon hours around 1 and 2 p.m., more snow starts to increase around Grand Forks, Devil's Lake, up to Minot. And then by 6 p.m., we're, these areas down in the central parts of the state, southwest, have really gotten a lot of snow by that point already. We're looking at already 10 inches of snow, possibly more, for those of you down there. And note kind of what I've said earlier this morning, areas in the northwestern parts of North Dakota might not get quite as much as we were thinking. It's starting to look like as this develops, the snow kind of wants to push off more to the northeast as opposed to just directly north. So as this winds up, at least throughout the day today, it looks like the northwestern parts of the state is going to be a little bit until they pick up their snow. It's probably going to be more overnight tonight into a Wednesday before they really start to pick up more of that accumulating snow. But at least they're not, I know they could sure use the moisture, but there looks like they're going to get away from some of this heavier stuff today. This is as of 9 p.m. tonight. This particular model, not saying this is the truth, but just the very latest run we have to go off of. Quite a bit of snow out in the west, with some areas in the east now starting to pick up 5 inches in Devil's Lake, 6 inches possible at this point, right around Grand Forks. Valley City 8, Jamestown 8 is possible. Now, here's that line. Here's that gray area right through here. Here's that rain snow line. So very possible that any of you in through here, there's going to be quite a bit of variability. It could be 3 inches, it could be 10 inches by the time we get to the end of the day today. Just because, again, we're right on that rain snow line mix as we flip back over to the radar, and you can see how this is setting up pretty close to how that model is showing. That rain snow line just north of Fargo, kind of down through. Well, boy, it really looks like it's more so down in that southeastern parts of North Dakota, not so much down in south central anymore. Those areas down in Ashley, some of those areas I was a little bit more thinking they're going to be on the line. Wishick, Napoleon, Gackle. Looks like you guys are a little more in the snow right now, at least according to how this radar is showing up. And it looks like that rain snow line is just a little bit further east. So I think for those of you that were a little more in that question mark in through here, probably not so much of a question anymore. It's probably more of how much snow are you going to get. I think you're not looking quite at that 3 to 4 inch range. You're probably looking at 6+ range the way this is turning out to be, at least at this moment this morning. It looks like more of that rain line is pushed a little bit further east than what we were thinking. So those of you down in there, watch out. It looks like you're picking up more snow than I'm sure you were hoping for. But again, the rain snow line just kind of north of Fargo through Lisbon and Oaks. So those of you in through here, kind of that's the transition line, and that line will move northward throughout the morning and into the afternoon hours. Whereas we're expecting some of that warmer air to sort of push further north, and so those of you through Mayville and Grand Forks, I would sort of expect that rain line to push further north throughout the morning and afternoon. I'm actually kind of seeing it here a little bit. You see the white, and it begins to progress just a little bit further north on those last couple of frames. So basically doing what we've been thinking here. So it's turning out fairly close. Some adjustments here and there. It looks like maybe the shift is a little bit southeast, meaning areas in the northwestern parts of the state might not get quite as much today, whereas areas down in the south central, some areas in the southeast might pick up a little more than we were thinking. So that little bit of shift matters, and that's what we were worried about, and that looks like that's what's taking place here. Take a poke around on some of these. This is Lemon again. That was kind of had that up a little bit earlier. Visibility is way down. That's close to that blob of snow, that very intense area that was showing up on the radar here. That's pretty close to this yellow area, actually a little west of there. So, and it might be that some of this isn't quite showing up on radar either, but that's an intense, that visibilities look really reduced there in Lemon. Give you back to the radar here, and I'm going to keep poking around and see if I can't find anything else interesting. As always, feel free to send me some pictures, send me some photos, preferably on Facebook or on Twitter. You can see the Facebook and Twitter popping up that way. Got to figure out which way to point. That way on the screen there. I'd love to show photos and videos of what you see currently going on, or just shoot me a message, even on the chat line here. Tell me what you see. Tell everybody what's going on so that we know. It's hard, I can look at radar and satellite and all these fun stuff and the webcams, but it sure helps if I've got people out there that tell me what they're seeing, because it's hard to know exactly what's going on. This is Bismarck, I-29, or I-94 right along Centennial Road. Looks like we got a plow out there, but visibility's looking like they're reduced. Roads, again, not looking good at all. Very slippery conditions out there at this point already. This is Mandan, just west of Mandan. Visibility's not looking real great. obviously, closer to, this is New Salem, actually hailstone. This off-ramp, I think, looking pretty snow-covered. Then areas further west, once we get to Dickinson, if I can find an image here, looks a little better, but the roads are starting to slick up a little bit. Visibilities are reduced. Once we get out to Medora, it was looking better earlier this morning. Now, as we take a look, obviously starting to get some snow covered, some drifting going on out there, likely some reduced visibilities. This is near Camel Hump and Beach, out in Beach. It doesn't look quite as bad out far western parts of the state near Beach. And I guess that's to be expected. Kind of thought more that far southwest in through, and then Dickinson would be just kind of on that line of the real heavy stuff. So that's not surprising that these areas out in the far western parts of the state, at least now, don't look that bad. Take a look down there in Bowman. That doesn't look good. Boy, you can't see very far down in Bowman. That is snowing heavy down there. Holy cow. And then heading near Haynes. The visibility is a little bit better there at this point, but roads obviously not great. And Mott, Leipzig. Again, visibility is not great. Looks like the roads aren't very fantastic. Take a look closer to Flasher again. Just some nasty roads. That's definitely what we're seeing everywhere. Wishick, not real great visibility. Can't see very far, at least on the camera. Road looking pretty snow covered. Not obviously the bad road conditions associated with all this snow that's occurring. Let's go back to this radar and see where some of that heavier stuff currently is. All right, just north of Linton, Solon, Wishick, coming up on Hazleton, Braddock, Almont. Looks like Bismarck, you're going to be in there some crosshairs of some moderate snow here, probably within the hour. I would expect your visibilities to decrease. So if you're out on the road, conditions are going to deteriorate quickly. And then out in McLaughlin, McIntosh, Selfridge, boy, that's a nice big heavy band of snow. It might be a little bit of a bright banding area there just because it is kind of close to the rain. Let's see. Yeah, it's usually you don't get it quite that far out, but bright banding meaning it's that transition between rain and snow, so sometimes it picks up a little bit higher reflectivity, but that's pretty far out. I didn't think you normally get that far away from the radar, so I think that's probably more moderate to heavy snow for sure. Elgin, Mott, Regent looks like it's snowing pretty good. Areas north of Bismarck look a little better, but obviously this heavy stuff that's developed south of I-94, that's all heading north and east. So those of you north of 94, you're going to get your turn. Obviously it is already snowing, but the heavier stuff is coming. So the other thing that I had mentioned before, we'll flip over to this, is the winds. Still looking at northeasterly winds, Bismarck right now. Guy has a quarter-mile visibility at the airport. Winds are east-northeast at gusting near 40 miles per hour, and they have moderate snow. So already picking up some moderate snow still in Bismarck, some pretty good reduced visibilities. Linton, a quarter mile, and heavy precip. It says unknown, but heavy precip. Winds gusting closer to 43 miles per hour. Dickinson, moderate snow. Winds gust to 44, less than a quarter mile visibility being reported out there at their airport. And then again, right where all this heavier snow is starting to develop, you're also seeing the stronger winds as well. So again, mentioned that last night. Hopefully we can quickly move over to the model here. We'll take a look at some of the wind gusts. And there's the wind gusts this morning. And note how that moves to the northeast pretty closely to the line of how we're expecting some of those stronger areas of snowfall to occur. This is 10 a.m., 11, and noon. So much of the south is going to be seeing some stronger winds of 40, 45 miles per hour, maybe even greater at times, maybe some areas of 50 miles per hour, while the north kind of stays out of it throughout the morning hours. Once we get into the later afternoon, this is 4 p.m., that area sort of rotates to the north and east. So some of you areas, again, off in the northwestern parts of the state where we're not going to be picking up quite as much snow. It also looks like the winds probably aren't going to be quite as strong as we were thinking as well. And with that shift means some of those stronger winds moves a little bit further into the eastern parts of North Dakota and in through northwestern parts of Minnesota. So some of you that weren't quite looking like they're getting quite as strong of winds, looks like we are now. So 40, 45 miles per hour. Here is 7 p.m. and everything in the red is basically right through here. We're looking at some 45 mile per hour gusts, possibly greater. And through the night, 9 p.m., 10 p.m., looks like we're still increasing that right around Devil's Lake. I noticed that last night with the models that this was showing some increase in Devil's Lake through the nighttime hours, early nighttime hours, and it's still showing that. So Devil's Lake tonight, man, I think for sure we are looking at the potential of blizzard conditions across that Devil's Lake Basin region, and maybe just into the far western parts of the Red River Valley, and then kind of getting close to Rugby and up to the Turtle Mountain region. So I think overnight is really going to be tough sledding in parts of the north. Meanwhile, like I said, the northwest maybe not quite as bad. Flip back over to the precip. See if we've got a different model run. Again, apologize. Some of this I'm doing on the fly here, and that's just how we gotta do things. So you're learning some of this stuff as I find it out. Here's the very, 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 very latest once again that I haven't taken a look at. I've got my wife working in the background with me, so you're going to hear her sneeze once in a while. We've all been passing a cold on to each other, and my middle child is at home, still not feeling good, and my wife is sniffling in the background, so we're sharing a bit of an office right now. So, and here we are at noon. It looks like some pretty good snowfall across central parts now, reaching into close to that Highway 2 region by noontime. Was still fair. Those of you down in the south, still not out of it, obviously, and you're really not going to get out of it throughout the day today. There's that rain snow line. Just kind of looks like it's a little bit south of Grand Forks, a little bit further east than what we were thinking last night. That's basically what's sort of showing up on the radar currently as well. Once we get into 6 and 7 p.m., more rains, some heavier rains, maybe even some thunderstorms down in southeastern parts of North Dakota, maybe up and through as well as northeastern South Dakota. Some storms popping off down into south central parts of Minnesota at that point, possibly severe. 8 and 9 p.m. Boy, these areas in northwestern Minnesota, northeast North Dakota at this point, really looking like some heavy, at least moderate to heavy snowfall occurring at that time. And that rain line pushes a little bit further east. So I would say, I was talking about Grand Forks earlier. Looking like we're a little more on the snow side of things. So it looks like we're picking up more snow than we want over here in Grand Forks, and that rain snow line maybe just slipping a little bit further south and east. We go into the nighttime hours on Tuesday night. This is Wednesday. Plenty of winds out there, northeasterly winds. Plenty of snow still occurring. Obviously, those of you in the Northwest, at this point, definitely still, you'll be getting your snow, just maybe not quite as heavy as we had previously thought. But don't worry, you'll still be getting your precipitation, especially as we get later into the day and more so into the nighttime hours Tuesday night. And then Wednesday morning, this is 7 a.m. Still plenty of snow out there across much of the North Dakota, northern Minnesota. And as we get closer to 9 a.m., this is where we're looking, and some pretty strong winds, out of the northeast. Wow, that's interesting. That way. There we go. Out of the northeast. Talk about the isobars, these black lines. Obviously, I always talk about how they're closer together. That means the pressure is higher. And when you got higher pressure, just like a balloon wants to travel from higher pressure to lower pressure. So some stronger winds looking like obviously into Wednesday. So still the possibility of some blizzard conditions out there, mainly, especially across the north, maybe through central parts of North Dakota as well as we get into Wednesday morning. Roads not going to be really improving much for those of you down in the south central part of the state, just because we're still going to be dealing with the winds. Maybe the snow won't be quite as intense, but you still have the winds, so the roads won't be great through the day on Wednesday morning and in through as we get later into the day as Wednesday as well. So, all right, we'll flip you back to the radar. I will poke around a little more and see if I can find anything else interesting out there. If anybody's got any questions, go ahead and ask. Type them up. Now's the time. Yeah, that area heavy snow, sure, making its way to Bismarck. Man, a lot of snow out there. I did talk to my daughter out in Bismarck, and they said the high schools have all canceled their classes out there. Sounds like she still has class at UMary, but the schools, the high schools, the grade schools have all canceled for today. So that's good. Here is, oops, don't want that one. New Leipzig. Again, visibilities really don't look that great at all. Boy, I don't know if you could see more than a half a mile, at least on this webcam. So things picking up down there, obviously, with this heavy band of snow that's out there. Looks like Hazen's got reporting rain of all things. That's interesting. I don't think so, Hazen. That would be freezing rain because you're only at 27 degrees. All right. I think that's all I've got for you this morning. I'm going to let the radar sort of run here. I'm going to check out. I've got to get to my daytime job. If I see anything pop up throughout the day, I'll post it on Facebook if there's any significant changes out there. But it looks like those of you down in the southwest, south central, you're in it now. You're definitely in it now. Just one last time, that rain snow line looks like it's pushed a little bit further to the east. So for those of you down in Ashley, Ellendale, Amore, Napoleon, Edgeley, Gackle, probably looking at more of the snow as opposed to the rain snow, the way it's looking right now. So you're probably looking more in the 6+ inch range as opposed to that possibility of getting 3 inches. So I know I've got plenty of family down there. So for those of you down in that Wishick-Napoleon area, hang on. We're looking at probably closer to 6 inches or more. The way this is developing, and keeping an eye on this area down in 48s, that could be coming your way. Looking like some pretty moderate, or at least looking at some moderate snow heading your direction over the next couple hours. Then areas in the northwestern parts of North Dakota, rather. probably not picking up quite the snow we were thinking today. And then this line through here, Grand Forks right now looking like, they were right on that rain snow line, looking like we're more on that snow line as opposed to rain. So probably picking up a little bit more snow than we were hoping for. But then as you get south of there, Hillsboro down through Fargo and Wahpeton, still looking like rain more so down there as well. So that is all I have for everybody this morning. Keep an eye on Facebook. Keep an eye on any rapidly changing weather conditions, because that's definitely going to happen throughout the day as this moderate areas continue to push to the north. And thank you all for tuning in, and we will talk to you later.